Welcome to Dove and Dragon Radio. I'm your host, M.l.Ruscsak. I'm here with my special guest, Cecelia Holloway. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here. I'm happy to be here.
You sent me over this wonderful bio, and you're into a lot of different things. So before we get into the world of writing for children, what path did you take first?
Well, first of all, I'm a mother. I'm a wife. Mm-hmm. I've been married for 52 years.
Oh, wow.
Yes. My husband and I, we're married 52 years. We have 6 children of our own. And I have 12 grandchildren. So, and I was always a Sunday school teacher. Mm-hmm. And I love teaching children as well as raising my own. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of different experiences from raising my own because all 6 of them were very different, with very different talents and abilities and gifts. And I always had in me to write poems. I used to write poems all the time for my Sunday school class. And one day, just talking with my husband and raising the children, I stayed home with them for 17 years to make sure they were raised the way we wanted them to be raised. And in doing that, took a lot of prayer, a lot of patience. God helped me a lot. And I found out that they were all different and they all had different needs. And so I really asked the Lord to help me how to make everybody feel good about themselves. And because I also, after my youngest child was in the 2nd grade, I went to work at a school. I worked in the office of an elementary school in my city. And I also had the experience of seeing a lot of children that didn't feel good about themselves, were not happy, compare themselves all the time with others. And that's how I began to get into wanting to write this book. And also, one day I asked my husband, I just said, well, honey, why do you love me? And he said, I love you just because of who you are. And he told me, he said, if I choose one thing about you to say, that's why I love you, then he said, if that one thing changes, does that mean my love would change? He said, I just love you. I love you just because. And that stuck with me in my heart. And in raising my children, working in the school around other children, and what my husband said to me, I wanted to write a book, and I entitled it Just Because, so that in it, parents can read it to their children and let them know that they are not just loved because of how they look, or how good their grades are, or how they behave all the time, whether they're always good all the time, or whether they're always first, or things like that, but they are loved just because of who they are.
And that's an important message, especially when you start young. You have to start young.
Yes, it was very important to start young, because I see so many adults that compare themselves all the time with one another. I want my hair to look like her hair, or I want my skin color to be her skin color, or I want her eyes, or I want his nose, or I want my face to look like this, or different things. I hear that all the time from adults. And so that's why I wanted to start with children. Mm-hmm. If we can instill into them that they are loved just because of who they are, not because of how they look or what they do, then that can grow up in them and they won't compare themselves with others all the time. because they'll feel good about themselves. And this book was written for parents to read to their children. And it starts out saying, I love your eyes. I love your nose. I even love your little toes. I love your hair. I love your face. I love all of your special ways. And if your parent starts out saying that to you, telling you that they love your eyes and they love your nose, they even love your little toes and they love your face and they love you and how you look. If the most important person to you is your parent, because that's mainly who you're around as a little child, if they make you feel good about who you are, then I believe that'll grow up in you, that you will feel good about being who you are and knowing that you're loved just because of who you are.
Exactly. When I was growing up and later when I had my own daughter, I had a little plaque that says children mimic what they have around them. If you have the negative, they're going to grow up with the negative. You have the positive, they're going to grow up with the positive. If you start off with the I love you, why do I love you? I love everything about you. That's what they're going to grow up with.
That's what they're going to grow up with. And it's our job as parents to put that in them. That's why God has given them to us to raise, to put good in them. And we were having our children so fast because they're all a year and a half apart, which was very fast. But young. I was 19 when I started having them. And my husband wanted me to stay home. You know, I know a lot of families can't do that now, but I was able at that time to stay home with them because he said he wanted us to put what he wanted to see in them. He wanted it to come from us and not what someone else was putting in them because they were the ones that were essentially raising them. And I'm thankful that I was able to do that. It wasn't easy. It was a sacrifice, but I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't change a thing because I'm very thankful and happy and proud of them, how they have turned out. And I always say that it's not so much who we are, but it's still just God being good to us because you know, you can do the right thing all the time and still something bad can happen to you. You can't judge other people. I don't want to judge anybody and say, well, if you had stayed home or if you had done this or you had done the others, you wouldn't have any problem. That's not true. We all have problems sometimes. But I was just thankful. And in our mindset, we just wanted to put as much of what we had learned in our life in our children. My mother was very sweet, very kind, very loving. She always told me I was beautiful. She always told me I could do anything I wanted to do. She always told me I was smart. She put that in me. I have 4 brothers and 1 sister. So it was 6 of us as well. I have 4 boys and 2 girls. And my mother had 4 boys and 2 girls. So she put that in me. And it has helped me. And I wanted to put that in my children as well. And this book will really help you put that in your child, any parent that reads it to them, because you're starting with them young. This is for early in age, 3, 4, 5 and up. And the thing about that though, whenever I read it, I used to go to schools and read it in schools to the children in the school. And the thing that amazed me the most is that the teachers and the administrators or other adults that were around, they would always say, Miss Holloway, we need that too. And I would say, well, good, you can receive it. It's true about you as well. You are loved just because of who you are. You have to know that. And then you won't be envious and jealous and of anyone else because you'll know that you are all right just by yourself. You are okay just because of who you are. We
How
need
many,
good.
exactly, how many of our problems are self-created because we don't believe we love our love because of who we are? We have to try to be this way or that way, or
Yes.
be like this person or that person. If we step back and go, are you happy? You as a person, don't, not me telling you, are you happy?
Right.
Are you looking at the inside of yourself, inside of your mind? Are you happy? Are you being the person that you want to be?
It's so important. It's so important. And we won't do it if we don't feel that who we are is good enough.
Mhm.
If we feel bad about ourselves on the inside, it's really hard to get other people to like you. If you don't really like yourself, then it's really hard to convince other people to like you, because you're not going to walk, talk, or behave like you feel like you should be treated well because you feel good about who you are. My husband, my father, excuse me, used to say, people will treat you like you behave. In other words, if you act like you don't count or you're nobody, people will treat you like you're a nobody. If you act like you feel good about you, then they'll begin to see those good things in you as well. I really believe that. And so it's so important that we put this in our young people in an early age. It's back.
Yeah, it really does. We need it to start young. It would take away the bullying in school.
Yes.
And that's a huge problem. Take
It's
away the bullying online that has developed over the last 20 years.
Yes.
You take away that jealous, envy, negative culture that we invented.
That we invented. You're right. It would help take it away. In raising my 6, I would tell them now, I would never make them feel, if I had to buy shoes or buy shirt or clothes for one of the children, I would tell them now, your brother needs this, so we're going to buy this for them. I can't buy it for everybody, but he needs it. When your shoes wear out or when you need something, we'll get that for you. And I never made people feel that if they bought something for one of my children, they had to buy it for all of them.
Right.
I was just thankful if they did anything to help one, that helped us all. And I never made them feel that they were in competition, or if your brother received something, you had to receive it as well, because you would never, with 6 children, you would never get anywhere. So I brought them up that don't be jealous because your brother's getting a new pair of shoes. He's getting a new pair of shoes because he needs it. And then when you need some, we'll get you some.
Right.
If I can buy you all some at the same time, I will, but most times we can't. So be happy that your brother's getting it.
And then it's also now, it's not the name brand stuff that you don't get, the Tommy Hilfiger, Calvin Klein, all those big names. You get what you can afford, and be thankful you can afford it. If you can afford the big names, great. I'm blessed that you can do that for yourself.
Yes.
But life doesn't matter if the shirt costs $5 or $500. It's a shirt.
It really does.
It covers.
It's a shirt. It covers. You're right. And you know what? For the most part, they make those items in the same factory, and they just put different labels on them. So for the most part, a shirt is a shirt. But if you but you have to bring them up like that. If you bring them up that they have to have name brand, then that's what they're always going to strive for. And then when they can't get it, they feel bad about it.
Yes. I have a grandmother that's like that.
Really?
You would think growing up during the Great Depression and not having the name brands, like cereal. I'll use her cereal.
Okay.
If it's not a name brand cereal, she won't eat it.
Oh my goodness. And they really do make those in the same place.
They do, literally.
And put some in a box with a different name on it, and put some in a bag without a name brand on. They certainly do. But I don't know. We don't know why people do that. Maybe that's the way they were brought up.
Exactly. That it's all starts. How are you raised? How are you
How are you
brought up?
raised?
What was instilled in you that
Exactly.
you have to have this a certain way?
It's what's instilled in you. It really is. If you don't feel that you are important because you didn't come out first, if you weren't the first one in line, if you didn't make A's all the time, where you weren't smart because you didn't make A's all the time, you'll feel bad because if you make a B or a C, or you'll feel inadequate.
Mhm.
If you're told, do the best you can, and whatever you do is applauded or appreciated, and let me help you so you can do even better, but I appreciate what you've already done, that'll grow up in you. I was good, I did my best, and I received praise for it, or it was accepted. At least it was accepted. But made to feel bad about not meeting someone else's standard, then you're going to always feel bad, because we're never going to please everybody. Never.
No, it's impossible
It's
to please
impossible.
everyone.
It's impossible.
You can please
what I
some of the
said.
people some of the time, but you cannot please all the people all the time.
And that's so true. You cannot. You never will. And so you have to feel good about who you are and what you can do and what you have accomplished. It's so important. It really is. And as you said, it begins at the beginning. And it's how we are raised. My goodness.
Everything comes back to how we are raised. As
Yes.
adults, you can take all of those beliefs and you can change them if you want to change them. You
Yes.
just have to change your mindset. But if we can start with the little ones, little
Yes.
infants going into elementary school, and start
Yes.
teaching them that they're important, that they are valued, that they are loved just the way they are, regardless of everything else,
Regardless.
you would have a much better society today.
Yes, we would. Yes, we would. I want this particular book just because I would love to get it in the hands of every household, everywhere. And that's why on my cover, and I don't have the book before me, but on the cover, I have children of all different races on the front. So I have boys and girls, and they're all different ethnicities, so that they can feel good. It's for everybody. It's for everybody. And inside, when I say I love your hair, I have different hairstyles. I love your nose. I have different noses. Yeah. I have different eye shapes in the book. Some round, some are small, some are slanted, some are made in different ways. Just to give you an example, where they're reading it, and when I would take it to the schools, I would say, now look at your eyes, look at your neighbor's eyes, and their eyes are different from your eyes, but your mom loves your eyes. And I would use myself. I said, I love your eyes, which is better coming from your parent, but I would use myself at that time.
Right.
And I want you to say, I love my hair. And I would have them point to the hair. I love my hair. I love my nose. I love my eyes. And I would have them say that and point to themselves to get used to saying good things about themselves, because we all look different. And it was no mistake. It was all in the plan of God for us all to look different. And so we're not a mistake. He gave us to the family that he wanted us to come forth from, so that we have the features, the colors, the education, everything we have. He put us in that family, in that region of the world, to come up the way he wanted us to come up. It was all good.
We're all different. We're all meant to be different. We're not meant to be robots, all doing the same thing, all thinking the same way, all looking the same way. That's not how we were meant to be. We're meant to be free thinkers. We were meant to be free individuals, to look however we look.
However we look. And it was not a mistake. And it was all good. It's all good. Whatever God made you, it was good. Your eyes are beautiful. My eyes are beautiful. my shaped nose is beautiful. Your shaped nose is beautiful. It's what God wanted you to have. It's what he wanted me to have. And if we could just, oh my God, if we could really get that into children.
Mm-hmm.
Your eyes are supposed to look like that.
Yes.
Your nose is supposed to be shaped like that.
How many elementary school, I'm talking between 1st and 3rd grade, say, I hate this about myself. I'm fat, ugly. We hear this every day. We need to stop that.
You hear it every day. I have reached out to some schools. Some schools have actually ordered my book for their early childhood development centers. And so I was really thrilled about that. I don't know what I need to do, but I'm going to keep pushing it. I want to get to the point where I can just kind of really give it away as much as I can, especially to places that can't afford to buy it. I'm going to get there because it's going to make a difference. It is going to make a difference in the way we treat one another.
Have you thought about joining Speakers Hub or Gig Salad?
See, now I've never heard of either one of those.
Okay.
I need help in that area.
Okay. Well, I'm going to do a little mentor section here.
Okay.
And I try to mentor whenever I can. Gig Salad or Speakers Hub is for motivational speakers.
Speakers Hub.
Speakers Hub or Gig, G-I-G, Salad.
Okay. Salad?
Salad, like you eat a salad.
Okay, okay, I have it. Okay.
You go to these sites, you create a profile.
Okay.
You're a motivational speaker for young children.
Okay.
And this is a way for schools or other institutions to get a hold of you so you can come in and talk to the children about your book. Spread the message that they are loved.
I would love that. I used to do that. And but I would just go in person in the schools as I could. But then when the pandemic came and everything and just getting older, I will look up both of these.
See, there used to be a few years ago before the pandemic, there was a place called, oh, I forget the name of the website, but they took it down for some reason, and it was free for schools to find you online.
Wow,
well,
really?
You can actually put this on your website if you have one, and we haven't got there yet, but you can have a link on your website saying, I'll go do a Zoom call with schools around the world to talk about them, that they are loved.
I will research this. I do have someone that is helping me now to help me to get it out there. So I have these two written down and I will look into it, and then I'll just ask around to find out if that program still exists, and I get into it. I would love that. I would absolutely love it. I love being there in person, but it's be in person now. But if I can just get the information over to them, I don't have to be there, but I love to see the children be excited and feel good about themselves. Go ahead.
It was called Skype's Author in the Classroom. I think they closed this actual site down, but that's what it was called. I'm sure there's I'm sure there's another program that has taken over because it was enriching classrooms around the world with resources like authors coming in and talking about their books or motivational speakers. It was free.
I would love that. I will look into that. Skype's Authors in the Classroom. I will look those up. I will get some help. I will get some help.
Because this is a message that we need not only here in the US, but around the world. We need to tell our children every day we love them as they are.
Every day.
It doesn't matter if you're a parent working 2 jobs and you only see the child for 15 minutes. You have to tell them you love them because of who they are.
You have to tell them that. That means more. You can have a lot of money and buy a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
But if you never give them that love, that confidence that you love them, you, not the toys, not the fancy, whatever, all that's good. If you can do that, that's wonderful. But if you can say to that child, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love, like I said in the book, I love your eyes, I love your nose, I love everything about you. Know that you are loved. And you can, if you have to work the 2 jobs, Johnny, I'm working these 2 jobs so I can take care of you because I love you.
Exactly. I
Those
remember when
words.
my daughter was little and I was working 3 jobs at one time. I was working over 60 hours a week. This was when she was little. Mommy, you're always gone. Baby, I have to work to be able to keep food on the table for you, to keep you in clothes, to keep you doing what you need to be doing.
Yes, it means so much. And as she grows up, she does that even the more, that you had to do that in order to take care of her.
And now she's 19 years old.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, this is 20 years ago when I was doing this, but at the same time, she's an adult now. So she knows the value of working to keep the lights on, to keep clothes on your back, to do what you have to do just to survive.
Just to survive and take care, meet their needs. And those needs have to be met. They have to be taken care of. But because you instilled in her that you love her, she kept that. She kept that in her heart. She knows that. And that grew up with her. Mom, she told me she loves me. She always tells me that she loves me. Some children, when I worked in the school, I could see those children were not cared for. And they didn't hear those words, I love you. I don't know why. That seems to be a hard thing. Maybe it's hard for people to say because they never heard it. They didn't hear it. So it's hard for them to say.
I think that's the problem as well. But we are almost out of time. So where can our listeners and our viewers find you and your book?
You can find me I'm on Yahoo, Amazon. I'm on Books or More. I'm on the Trinity Broadcasting Network. They publish my books. You can find me on their network, but mainly on Amazon and Books or More, and all of those sites that are on there that publish books and feature books. My book can be found on just about all of those. And I do have a website which is being worked on at this time, and it's www.justbecause.org.
Awesome. And thank you so much for being on.
Thank you. I enjoyed this very much. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And for our listeners and our viewers, happy reading.